Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest goings on with Beavercreek, Ohio, Walmart shooting last night, and a bunch of other things too. My personal feud with Guns and Barbecue and other people, and why I will never, ever, ever, ever let that go now. And basically some other things too on that one. New York going full Hitler slash Kathy Hochul going full dictator and want to create Nazi Germany style concentration camps in the state of New York, which is not surprising at all. These psycho ass Democrats will always do that whenever they get a chance to grab power and seize it and hold on to it. Which, by the way, for those who don't know, Kathy Hochul, just like Andrew Cuomo, should have been brought up on crime against community charges at least 2.5 years ago for everything they did during the 2020 lockdowns, for the amount of New Yorkers that they helped mass genocide over everything there. So, yeah, this woman has no business being in power. 99% sure she cheated, honestly, at this point, to get back into power in 2022. And I guarantee if we actually did election audits, her ass probably would not be governor of New York right now. Lee Zeldin would be. So, anyway, but yeah, we'll talk about that one in a couple minutes here. Well, I'll stop about some other stuff here. I do want to talk about something that was brought up during Honda's chat too, after Guns and Barbecue showed up there, which was we were discussing the LeBron James I Promise School and how it came out about there being like no kids in the 8th grade passing the math test for the past 3 years or so. And the thing is, it's an old article to begin with. I believe it was last year's when it actually came out. And yeah, the entire point is though, going to Wikipedia here, or not Wikipedia here, going to Google here and looking it up here, it said, I Promise School, LeBron James launched. Too much fanfare in 2018 made headlines here in 2023. For all the wrong reasons, data presented to the Akron, Ohio School Board revealed not a single student from the school's inaugural 3rd grade class, now entering the 8th grade, so they've been there for 4 years already is what it is, has ever passed state's math test. And that's exactly why the state of Ohio now is looking into actually trying to basically take the school from the LeBron James I Promise Foundation is what it is, and basically put it under state control is what it is now. Because basically what's happening there with the I Promise School is you have it being so dumbed down basically to where these kids are not passing any math tests. As far as I'm aware, with local media and stuff too, they also weren't passing any reading tests or any other tests like that for state educational standards is what it was there, because they were all doing failing grades and stuff. And it's actually like where Ohio would be normally, like here, the I Promise School is yanking us down like here for the standards of the entire state now. So when you can have one school / school district fucking over the rest of the state, like, yeah, there's definitely a problem there, dude. And I know that John was bringing up the fact that it was, possibly the 2020 lockdowns and stuff like that. And that could have been a contributing factor to it too, for that matter, because I know that has fucked a lot of kids in the past 3 years or so. You look at these kids that were kindergartners, in 2020 and stuff like that, had to do forced masking and stuff like that, not getting verbal skills, not getting, face-to-face interaction with their peers and whatnot then. And then those kids going into 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and, in 3rd grade, they're still like basically a kindergartner. They're still kindergarten reading level. They're still kindergarten writing level, etc. in most cases. And it's sad. It's not good, man, at all. It is definitely, it's probably one of the worst things that ever happened to this country, honestly, was the 2020 lockdowns, because of how much it hurt entire generations of kids. And the thing is, though, when you look back at the kids they're talking about in that situation, though, they were there in the I Promise School since 2018. So you got the school years of 2018, 2019, and then going into the lockdowns of 2020. So there was 2 years there they didn't pass at all before that. And then it's them continuing to not pass at all is what it is. So, yeah, like, again, part of it could be contributed to the actual school itself. I think more to it, though, is what it is you have the overall thing that LeBron James is just a fucking ignorant idiot is what it is, honestly, dude. Which, the reason I bring that asshole up to begin with in general is the fact that when you look at LeBron James and what he did to the state of Ohio, this dude stole almost $1 billion from the state of Ohio's taxpayer money is what it is. People like myself paying taxes into the system. He stole our fucking money to fund the I Promise School and then falsely claimed that he funded it himself. He also took full credit for basically creating the school, for that matter, even though he literally funded like less than 5% of it is what it was at the time. and you had the state of Ohio's taxpayers, and it was like private donors funding their 95% of the damn schools that was there. So yeah, the guy's just a piece of shit in general. Not too much. He's a raging racist too, for that matter. He has actively tried to get cops killed in the state, specifically that one cop that was down there in Columbus, like a year or two back now is what it was, who had to kill that girl that was trying to knife the other girl. And he was basically putting a target on that cop's head. The fact there's not an active arrest warrant out for LeBron James arrest in the state of Ohio is beyond me at this point. The only thing I think is got to be celebrity status bullshit. And again, it's that, 2-3 tier justice system where you have basically money or fame or whatever the case be, and now all of a sudden you basically get away with everything at that point. It's kind of like the OJ murder shit and stuff like that back in the day, or anybody else like that has money. I know, who's that one actor guy? The dude that was in Money Train that played the evil villain guy. I know he killed his wife a long time ago, and he was actually had gotten let off for like a long ass time in that one until they like finally brought him up, and he was like basically old and decrepit, about to die anyway. They finally brought him up on murder charges then at that point. So yeah, like you can basically be, or like Alec Baldwin for that matter, for God's sakes. We talk about him on his chat tonight as well. You got this motherfucker who's been, 2 years now or so for the Rush shooting and still has not been charged with anything properly. Has not been sitting in jail a day of his life, et cetera there. And yeah, it's just fucked up, dude. It's completely fucked entirely. And then you have, the average citizen that'll just get railroaded by the fucking system. You have people like me that'll get fucking federally swatted over thought crimes and shit like that, 4 years ago. It's like, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Hell, you got this other stuff coming out now about the fucking, there's no U.S. air marshals on planes right now during the Thanksgiving holiday here because they're all wasting time basically illegally following people that were in or around the U.S. Capitol. They didn't have to be the U.S. Capitol, by the way. That's the more fucked up part about it is they were just had to be in the vicinity, geologically located around like January 6, 2021. They could have been there for a funeral. They could have been there for, visiting family, whatever the case be. And they've had people in the U.S. Air Marshal Service illegally tracking them for the past 2 years of their lives and have been put on like no-fly list and stuff like that, or like some kind of crazy ass like quasi list and things like that. It's fucking insane, dude, is what it is. And for those wondering what I'm talking about, it was something Mr. Guns and Gear posted here about 6-7 hours ago, which is, I'm not going to play it because I have to go do a whole bunch of stuff. Here's what it is, though. But yeah, basically it was this clip right here that says no air marshals on your own. And it was this woman on Fox News here talking to this other chick who I think was in the U.S. Air Marshal Service or like the head of it or whatever, who was mentioning about how, yeah, you're going to have like no air marshals on the service, on the planes and stuff like that, because they're all following January 6 people is what it is. And again, it's like, dude, this is what the fucking Patriot Act created in this country. This is what NDAA's created for the last, 20 something years now, where you can illegally hold people unconstitutionally in black ops sites and shit like that, throw a fucking black bag over their head in the middle of the night, drag them off to parts unknown, do fucking rendition flights and stuff like that. Which is what happened, by the way, after the 2020 election cycle. For those who don't know, there was a bunch of people taken up on fucking flights and tortured on fucking flights there by various military people and various, CIA, DIA, TSA, whatever the fuck it was, I'm not even sure. Like through the alphabet agencies, basically, like all kinds of Fed boys, like just doing like torturous shit, or mercenaries for that matter, for the government and shit. So yeah, just crazy shit in general, dude. And it's fucked up, dude, because it's the exact same stuff going on all these black sites over the last, several decades now and stuff like that. Actually, that was the one thing about the so-called glitch that happened a couple years ago, which was you had, I believe it was the Fitbit armband things you can walk around and do steps with and stuff like that. There was supposedly like a glitch in their system or whatever the case, which I think was actually a small hack is what it actually was, by like Anonymous or somebody like that. And what happened was, all of a sudden you had all these little dots pop up on the fucking map of places that shouldn't exist. And people are like, what the fuck was that? And they're like, oh yeah, all those dots were people that were in government, various military installations and stuff like that, who were in various black sites around the country. And all their dots were their Fitbits going off that day is what it was. So yeah, crazy shit, man, for sure. And yeah, pretty fucking insane though in general. But anyway. That being said, moving on to a couple other things I want to talk about here, which is the Beavercreek shooting was one of them, obviously. So basically, about a day ago, a little over a day ago. Actually, it was about 8:30 Monday night. You had some psycho go into Beavercreek Walmart near Dayton, Ohio, and start shooting people with a high point of all things, high point carbine, 45. He was a 20-year-old kid. They released the name, but for some reason, the media and specifically the cops still refuse to release the race of the guy. Which you would think, like, honestly, like, why are you holding back the race, dude? Like, every other time there's a big shooting like that or whatever the case be, or like some kind of like newsworthy shooting or whatever the case be, you'll always mention who the fuck it is most of the time, especially if it's a white dude. Is it because it's not a white guy? Is it because it's a black dude, or maybe, I don't know, an Arab motherfucker that committed the damn massacre, if that be the case, or tried to commit a massacre there, if that be the case? Which, to be fair, the guy was a horrible shot, dude. Like, he was fucking terrible. He shot and wounded 4 people. All of them are surviving right now. There's one that's in critical / stable condition is what they call them. Everybody else is just in stable condition at this point. And then he apparently ran back to like the back part of the store and took his own life. So, who's to say if it was some nut? Who's to say if it wasn't something else for that matter? And people were bringing up the fact that you had back in 2014, it was that same exact store where you had the guy it was the black dude walking around with a pellet rifle there. And you end up having cops go into there and shoot his ass dead because some dumbass called the cops and was like, oh, there's a guy running around with a gun here. And it's like, no, it was some dude literally walking around with a fucking air rifle that he got off the shelf in that store is what it was, to go buy it. And I was thinking maybe it was like anniversary of that whole thing or something, but then it turns out it wasn't. And the thing is, though, like, I know yesterday, because obviously it's after midnight now, I know yesterday was supposed to be the 2nd anniversary of the Waukesha Parade Massacre, so I don't know if it had to do with that maybe, and the guy got the date wrong or something, and that's what it was. Like, maybe it was something like that. I know, the thing is, I know for a fact the people that made up that NFAT group, the one that Grandmaster J asshole was part of, that he obviously went to federal prison now for a bunch of time because he pointed guns at cops and shit like that is what it was. And I know a lot of their membership was actually in Ohio. They were in major cities here in the state of Ohio, or at least they were anyway. A lot of them were from Cincinnati / Dayton area. And I know there's others in like Cleveland and Columbus and stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of others from, I think it's Virginia and a couple other different states like that around us, like Kentucky and whatnot. So, and I want to say Atlanta maybe had a big chapter in it or something. So who's to say it wasn't one of their membership for that matter? Who's to say it wasn't a black supremacist attack or something like that? Again, we would easily know this if the fucking cops just released the goddamn race of the fucking guy at this point. But they haven't done that yet. And that's what pisses me off about the whole thing. It's like, dude, just release the fucking, like, the thing is, it's not like you're protecting, like, an innocent person. The dude killed himself. He's dead. There's nothing to protect there. Unless you're trying to do some bullshit like Nashville narrative kind of crap is what it is, where you're fucking suppressing the manifesto and stuff like that. Which is what it feels like. And again, it's like, why would you be suppressing this stuff, dude? Just admit what the fuck the deal was. And the thing is, who's to say that it wasn't a targeted fucking hit for that matter on somebody? Who's to say he didn't know these fucking people, and it was some people he had a beef with or whatever the case be, and he just decided, oh, I'm going to go follow them or whatever the case be. Oh, here's my chance to go attack them now. And just walked in and started fucking popping off at them is what it was. Because the thing is, if this was, first of all, if this had been an actual, mass shooting / mass killing event, whatever the case be there, pretty sure he would have shot more than 4 people. Number one. Number two, you would have used a better firearm, dude. Because in the first place, you wouldn't take a fucking 10-round high-point carbine into there. You would take something like an AR-15, like an AK-47, like whatever the fucking case be there, or any other rifle for that matter that can hold more than 10 rounds in it or something, Hell, even using a different carbine for that matter, you could have used something like a fucking, a Ruger or a Smith & Wesson or something like that is what it would have been. That could hold like larger Glock mags and whatnot, and being a slightly different caliber, not 45, it would have been a 9mm then if that be the case. But yeah, the whole point entirely is like, it just seems very suspicious to me in general. And the whole thing just, it just screams to me of like something else entirely, whether it be gang violence, whether it be gang related, whether it be, personal beefs and retaliation kind of shit, or something else for that matter. And then of course you got the fucking, dipshit leftists out there, the fucking gun grabbing asswipes out there here in the state of Ohio and elsewhere across this country that are all like, and this is why we need to ban the guns again. No, this is why you need to go fuck off to another country, asshole, because we're sick and tired of your fucking terroristic shit here when you fuckers are literally backing actual terrorism being Islamic terrorism, aka Hamas, with your fucking pro-Palestine bullshit-ass rallies anymore, dude. Go fuck yourselves. For real. Fucking sick of that shit, dude. They had one of those up in Cleveland where they were trying to shut down a city council meeting the other day. And they were like, oh, Justin Bibb, you don't actually stand with Israel. You just don't want to stand with Hamas and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you mean he doesn't want to stand with a fucking terrorist organization? Like, of course he doesn't stand with a fucking terrorist organization, dude. Like, why would you? Like, y'all are stupid as fuck, dude. Why would you ever stand with Palestine in anything, dude? They're literal fucking terrorists in general. Personally, I'm not taking a side in either one of the situations, dude. I fucking hate everybody in this whole case. That'd be the case, dude. Fuck them all. Like, we shouldn't be funding people's wars in other countries. We shouldn't be in any fucking conflict as the United States at this point that doesn't directly involve people on our fucking soil. You know, if you want to go over to a different country and do whatever, dude, go to a fucking party, go to a rave, whatever the case be, that's on you. You know, when it goes to family in another nation or whatever the case be, again, that's on you. If it's not a direct attack on our country, if it's not a direct attack on one of our states, whether it be the state of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wyoming, Montana, California, Washington, D.C., whatever the case be, you know, technically Washington, D.C. isn't a state, but it's territory is what it is then. You know, it's U.S. capital, obviously. But yeah, there's not like a direct attack on one of either the U.S. capital or one of our state capitals for that matter. We should not be responding, dude. We should not be funding shit like that. You should not be having fucking money going out of our country, having our tax dollars be, you know, pissed away, having our nation's currency inflated like fucking crazy and fucking over us in the long run and making us go towards Venezuela style hyperinflation to fund other countries' fucking wars. Period. End of story. Now, granted, that being said, do I believe that Israel should be able to defend themselves versus fucking terrorism? Of course they should be. But at the same time, you know, when you have people out there being like, hey, look at all this shit, and it's all the fucking shit that Israel's gone out there and done to others out there, you know, whether it be Palestine, whether it be Hamas, whatever the case be, and like, you know, tortured children, everything else like that, like, yeah, they can all go fuck off is what it is. That's what I'm saying entirely. Like, nobody's fucking, none of these people on either side of the fucking aisle at that point are in any way, shape, or form the good guy. There is no good guys in this fucking war. They're all fucking shit, and that's exactly why America should stay the fuck out of it is what it is, entirely. So, anyway. Because, of course, you know, leading into the other story I'm going to talk about here, which is basically, we have our own fucking problems to deal with here on U.S. soil, which is crazy bitch Kathy Hochul. Happening now. New York Appellate Division has ruled in favor of Governor Kathy Hochul in a landmark case for government overreach. Rule 2.13, isolation and quarantine procedures will give the state of New York the ability to come into your home and take you away to quarantine without any notice or any for any virus or infection they deem necessary. So literally fucking Nazi Germany style concentration camps that we're talking about here on that one. This is also the same bullshit they pulled over in Australia during 2020 lockdowns, by the way. It said you won't have an option to fight it, no court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit, and they will keep you as long as they'd like. The rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still in testing. So basically torture you is what they're saying on that one. It says this is one of the biggest abuses of power this country has ever seen. This is only the beginning. How long until this nation, as this nationwide or even global? Yeah, it's fucking insane, dude. And then, of course, Wall Street Silver was saying how can't wait for this one to get the Supreme Court. Exactly, dude. There's no fucking way this is constitutional. There's absolutely no way. Because it is legitimately, you are talking about Hitlerian-style death camps at that point. You were talking about Nazi-style concentration camps at that point. That they're going to keep people locked up in the quarantine camps, dude. Hell, there's a reason, by the way, that 3-4 years ago, there was talk of FEMA camps all over this country, dude. There's reasons that there was people, there was a woman, I remember watching this a few months ago, actually. I think I played it on here on one of these chats or whatever. And it was about some woman over in the UK or whatever the case be, or Britain or something like that is what it was. And she was talking about how there was some FEMA camp that could facilitate like 200,000 people in it or whatever the case be. And she's like, where are they getting 200,000 people from? Oh yeah, that's you and me. And I'm not sure it was 200,000, might be 2 million actually. I'm thinking about it. It was like a high number though. I know that for a fact though. So it was either 200,000 or 2 million, one of the two. But either way, and that's the thing, they have those all over the world at this point, dude. They have them especially all over America here, and every single state has one of them. Is what it is, dude. Like, there's a reason why there is FEMA camps, FEMA facilities, etc. Hell, there's a reason why. What was it, 10, 15 years ago? You had Jesse Ventura when he was doing that conspiracy theory show and stuff like that, and they were literally following what were essentially giant Tupperware style caskets on trucks and stuff like that, where it was these big giant ass black coffins basically that were made out of like I'm trying to think what the material was now, polymer material and stuff like that, similar to what Tupperware is made out of is what it is. And you could basically fit, I think it was anywhere from like 2 to 4 people in one of those fucking casket things. And it's like, why would you be doing that? Why would you be creating things like that? Why would you be literally shipping things like that all over the fucking country? Oh yeah, that's right, because government wants to be fucking tyrannical, because government wants you dead. And when they can get their way by doing gun grabs, by doing assault bans, by doing magazine capacity bans, etc., by literally stripping you of your ability to fight tyranny, only then can they go full Hitler, Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot, etc., and disarm and kill you and democide you forever is what it is, just like they did back in the 20th century with all those dictators. And if you think Biden wouldn't do it, if you think Kamala wouldn't do it, if you think fucking Blinken, who is the shadow president right now, wouldn't do that shit, you're fucking kidding yourself, dude, 100%. So, anyway. It's fucking insane, man. It really is, honestly. One of the other stories I did want to talk about here was, I found out about this yesterday, actually. It was illegals getting illegals and the low-income people in New York is what it was, fighting over Thanksgiving meals like that. Thanksgiving surprise. Migrants get free holiday turkeys ahead of low-income New Yorkers. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what a fucking joke. Then it says, low-income New Yorkers living in public housing say newly arrived migrants, aka illegal aliens, have been first in line for free turkeys ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday as public resources are strained from illegal immigration. And then they talk about it here in this thing, and yeah, it's just fucking insane, dude, is what it is. And they were talking about how there's not enough to go around, and it's like, yeah, why should illegals get it first, basically? And it's like, exactly, dude, they shouldn't. That's the whole point. And then you got NBC actually admitting stuff here. NBC News poll records highest American gun ownership in poll history. Good, about fucking time. So the poll, which was conducted the 10th to the 14th of this month, shows over half of Americans, 50%, say that they or someone in their household now owns a firearm. That's cool as fuck, man. It says NBC News noted that the highest level of gun ownership ever recorded in one of their polls in 2023, NBC News found the percentage of Americans owning guns was at 42%, so that was a decade ago. In 2019, 46%, so it jumped 4% in 6 years. Said that they or someone in their household owned a gun. Now the percent is 52% of the people polled. Said, moreover, gun ownership among Democrats has increased through the years of polling as well. In 2004, just 33% of people that voted Democrat said that they or someone in their household owned a gun. Now, fast forward 20 years later, almost to 2023, the percent of Democrats admitting to own a gun is 41% now. So 8% in almost 20 years. That's actually not that big of an increase, actually, on that one, given the fact that, you would think it would be bigger, but obviously it's not that big because, as we were mentioning here a couple hours ago in Honda's chat, you had, and it's something that I didn't really get a chance to go fully into and stuff like that, which I will now is what it is. So it's something that was brought up, and I think Van Drake brought it up too as well on that one, which is you have these leftist people that don't actually trust themselves with a firearm. So it's like, why would they trust you and stuff like that? So it's like, oh, if I can't be trusted with a firearm, nobody should be, kind of thing. And that's exactly what all the Moms Made Action types are and stuff like that. That's exactly what Gabby Giffords and company like that are, is what it is. And there was a conversation I had about probably a year and a half ago or so, give or take. It was around my uncle's funeral that we went to when we saw his cremated ashes at the time, and I just lost it at that point because no, going there and thinking that I was going to be seeing his body one last time is what it was, and being able to have a final goodbye and never getting a chance to do that, obviously, which is still hits me in the feels to this day, man, because we were so close to having a final goodbye, and I never got a chance to see him before he passed, is what it was. And fuck Big Pharma, because it's what killed him, actually. So anyway, that being said, my sister had a friend come with her that day to the funeral, and this dude, he and I were having a conversation about gun ownership and stuff like that, which, mind you, I was actually legally carrying at the time. He did not know that, though. But yeah, the entire point is, it wasn't. Wait, was it about a year? Well, I'm trying to think now. It would have been at. I'm trying to remember now. It would have been after constitutional carry became a thing in the state of Ohio, because I was legally constitutional carrying at the time then. So it would have been maybe about almost. I think it was about a year ago now. I'm thinking about it, obviously, offhand. So it would have been maybe December of last year. So about 11 months ago now, I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so basically it was he, myself, my sister, and her friend were all in the vehicle together that day. And we were talking about some stuff. And he was mentioning about guns and gun ownership and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I don't trust myself with a gun because, never know if I want to use it or get like road rage or something like that and pull it out on somebody and stuff. And that's exactly what was brought up tonight and stuff in Honda's chat, was how it's the same thing with other people like that, dude. It's like, yeah, you would have these people basically fly off at the handle like crazy and end up using their gun in, some kind of road rage incident or something like that in most cases. And so they can't trust themselves to own a gun or, be a firearms owner at that point. So they don't trust anybody with guns, is what it is, except for like, cops/military is what it is in most cases there, which is funny because, again, when you go back to cops and military, dude, those are some of the worst people when it comes to fucking proper training and stuff like that, dude. And the reason I say, I'm not saying like all military, obviously, I'm talking about like legitimately like today's military of like these young kids and shit like that can't hit the price of a fucking bar, is what it is. There was one of the guys here in the community, it was his son. I remember hearing this story about probably 2 years ago now, I'm guessing, give or take. He was telling us a story because it was his son going to the military at that point, and they were doing it was like the basic/advanced training stuff or whatever the case be for like various shooting and whatnot there to qualify for different things or whatever. And sorry, signal was dipping in and out. But yeah, he was talking about how his son was an expert marksman in that situation. And of like, I think it was the 20 or 25 guys in that unit, he was the only one who could hit shit on that one. Everybody else was missing the target by like several inches to several feet is what it was. And I'm like, oh, so you're telling me my chances if something ever happens are pretty fucking good because I can actually shoot. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, good. So yeah, needless to say, it's like, it's a joke, man. Like our young military guys in these various wars right now are not ready at all. And I'm not sure they ever will be, honestly, in many cases, because again, they don't have the proper skill set at hand to actually be, frontline infantry is what it is there. And then, of course, it's why you're bringing all those old people now. It's why you're bringing it. It's why you have Biden and company in the last week or two now saying, "Oh, all these guys were kicked out of our vaccine mandates and stuff like that. Oh, okay, we actually need qualified, skilled people that can actually do their fucking job here and be, operators and shit. Call those guys up and bring them back in and give them back pay and everything like that, dude." And it's like, yeah, go fuck yourself, buddy. Seriously. And what's even more disgusting is I actually saw one here in the last day or so, which was a guy who is now leaving the U.S. Army, who was talking about how he was actually being charged now $4,000 for gear that he was told to leave in Afghanistan in the 2021 failed pullout. And it's like, bro, how the fuck are you going to sit there and tell this man, oh, leave your M4 behind, leave your fucking Beretta 9 or whatever it is they have this sidearm right now behind. You know, leave all your gear behind, leave your plates behind, leave all your fucking mags behind, etc. there. Fast forward a year and a half or so. Oh, by the way, you're leaving? Yeah, you're gonna owe us $4,000 for the shit we told you to leave behind that's now in the hands of fucking Hamas and other terrorists across the fucking world right now. Like, fuck y'all, man. Seriously. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. And this is exactly what I've said before. If and when things pop off, which I think they're going to pop off in the next year or so is what's going to happen here. Next, 6-8 months here is what it'll be. Summertime of 2024 here is what it'll be there. Most likely, and then going into the fall of 2024 as well, for that matter. You have people who are fakes, who are phonies, who are frauds, who are fake patriots, is what I'll call them, who will be fake patriots, who will act like they're fucking, with the side of good and stuff like that, with the right side of history and stuff like that. They'll be out of it very quickly and will not be, obviously. And they'll be the actual patriots in this country that will be various vets, various, police, etc. there. Various, everyday citizens, etc. there is what it is there. And you will have a definite split in active military in this country, where you have some that will actually side with the actual patriotic side of history, and you'll have a lot that will side with government tyranny is what it'll be. And I think you're going to see a lot of shit that'll happen where you'll actually see a lot of people that are in the military who are at various camps and stuff like that, who can get to armories and whatnot, who will straight up be stealing trucks of weaponry and stuff like that. I believe that to my core right now, that we will definitely see that be a thing in the near future in this country, where you're going to have a lot of vets or you're going to have a lot of active military that may be friends with some veterans and whatnot that could get into facilities and what have you. And they would be like, okay, shit's about to pop off. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab this entire rack of rifles and this like 2-3 fucking, containers full of grenades and shit like that, throw them onto a fucking truck and drive off with it. I think you're definitely going to see that happen in the military, honestly. So, and those would be the people that would refuse to fight against their own citizenry. Those would be the people that would refuse to shoot American citizens. Because that's the sad part right now. You have, they've asked this question in military for the past 20-something years or so now, which it used to be asked of every active military at the time. And that obviously you had the main leadership and stuff at the time, which were a lot of older men from like the Vietnam era and whatnot, who maybe fought in Nam and then, stayed in for another 20, 30 years is what it was there, being asked that shit. And they're just like, hell no, I'm not firing on American citizens. What the fuck are you talking about? And as things have gotten, worse and worse, and as military recruitment has dropped, and as, old leadership has been replaced with woke leadership and stuff like that, now they're all like, oh, hell yeah, I'm on board with this shit now. And it's exactly why they're bringing all these fighting age males. All these, I think Duke called them MAMs, which is military age male. And that's exactly what it is, dude. It's these are going to be the people, all these dudes from Africa, all these dudes from, various Central American countries, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, etc. All these dudes from Chile, all these dudes from, various Asian countries, whether it be Chinese infiltrators, whatever the case be. These are going to be the dudes that are going to be given kits, given gear, and be told to basically be the UN shock troops and do total disarmament of this country's history and go door-to-door confiscation. It's like, good fucking luck to you, man, because we're not putting up with that shit here in America, dude. You will 100% see a shitload of fucking Waco-style events pop off immediately on that one. And I guarantee when you have 100 a day, 200 a day, 300 a day, whatever it's going to be of that shit, you're going to have people that are fighting on the front door and taking out entire squadrons. You're going to have some people that will die against entire squadrons. But either way, you're going to have a lot of American citizens fighting back, and rightfully so, because we will not be disarmed in this country, dude, period, ever. And that's the thing. There's going to be a lot of stuff popping off, I think, at the same time as it'll be. And like I said before, I believe we have a bunch of scenarios right now on the case currently where you could easily have something where it's going to be Americans basically fighting for national, foreign standing armies, etc. there. And not only that, but you'd also have these sleeper cells, etc., that would be the Chinese foreign nationals, Islamic terrorism, etc., which we're seeing a lot more of now, it seems like, with all these, pro-Palestine marches and stuff like that every weekend, it seems like now. And the worst part of it is it's not just, a bunch of Middle Eastern people at that point. It's not just a bunch of followers of Islam. It's a bunch of crazy-ass, retarded, white leftist types that are the Antifa, that are the BLM terrorists in this country, that are the actual threat to our constitutional republic. And nobody wants to talk about that, is what it seems like. Of course, the media won't talk about it because they're fucking cuck for these people, is what it is, dude. So, I don't know. 2024 is going to be a hell of a year, I'll tell you that right now. And I believe, truthfully, it could very well be going down in the history books as the year that started the Second American Civil War in this country. And potentially World War III on top of that. So, who's to say? Who's to say what's going to happen? Like I said, I did scenarios a while ago, a few months back now. And probably about a month or two ago now is what it was. And, I think I did like 5 scenarios that day. I think there's going to be a mix of all of them at this point, honestly. I think you're going to see a lot of crazy shit happen in a really quick time span. And, you could go to bed one night and just wake up the next morning and it's fucking Red Dawn style shit going on right now. And that's the scary part now, right? Is who's to say these foreign nationals wouldn't be on fucking paragliders and stuff just like they were on October 7th there in Israel and stuff like that. So, or just dropping in, being given like a go ahead or whatever on fucking planes and just dropping in with parachutes and fucking gear on and stuff like that. Like, it's a scary, scary thought to think about right now, man. That being said, they're 100% going to be the agitators of any kind of various riots happen this coming summer is what it'll be. So, they'll definitely be the government-run agitator people and stuff like that, just like they were on January 6th is what it was. So, anyway, my best advice to everybody right now is gear the fuck up. We're going to Thanksgiving this week. We'll have Christmas in a few weeks. Here's what it is. My best advice is gear up. Be ready for anything at any given time. Definitely 100% always be carrying on your person because you never fucking know if something's going to pop off. Seriously, I mean, hell, I'm sure the 4 people that got shot in Walmart like a day or so ago that were getting Thanksgiving dinner stuff that night didn't think they were going to go in there and buy a fucking turkey and then end up with a bullet in their fucking shoulder or whatever the hell it was there. And that's the thing, man. You got to be ready for shit like that because you never fucking know. And that's the problem. When you have gun-free zones in this country, which is what should be banned across the fucking board for the past 33 years now. It was the Gun-Free School Zones Act 1990 that started that bullshit, and then they expanded out besides in schools to other places of, various things, whether it be, giant grocery store chains like Walmart or Target, or whatever the case be, or whether it be just any place else for that matter. A regular comic book shop could be like a gun-free zone, etc. there. So, or a mall for that matter could be a gun-free zone. Basically started in the schools in 90, and then it basically expanded out from there. And then you wonder why we've had so many massacres in the past 20-something years now, and it's like, well, and what's funny to me too is I actually called out these people yesterday on Twitter about the whole thing because they were talking about all the school massacres happening since like 2008 or whatever the case be, and then it was around that same time that you had the firearms industry start like promoting, various ARs and AKs and stuff like that, the civilian population and what have you. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact you also had SSRIs at that point, psych drugs that are proven to have homicidal and suicidal side effects to them being pushed on kids like fucking crazy. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that you had, again, the Gun-Free School Zones Act in place for about 8 years or so, give or take at that point in time in history. And of course, it's what, directly led to Columbine and other massacres back in the late 90s there. There was another one before Columbine. It was back in 98. I forget what the actual school was that happened in. I want to say it was Missouri or Mississippi, maybe, but I could be wrong about that one. I want to say it was an M state, but I could be wrong. But either way, it was, you had these 2 kids, they were 12 and 13 respectively, and they went into the playground area there and started shooting up the fucking playground of their friends because they were both little psychos is what it was. And the ironic thing about that was it was one of the teachers that was at that school that was interviewed that day was actually the son of the woman who actually tortured a girl back in the 70s. That movie, I'm trying to remember what was called off here right now. It had Ellen Page in it as the girl before they went all trans and shit. But yeah, she was supposed to be the girl in that one, and it was this family that she was given. I think the real girl that was based on was named Sylvia or something, and it was basically she was given to this family, and the mother tortured the shit out of her in the basement, had her sons and daughters do the same to this poor girl. They tortured her to death eventually, is what it was. Because of course this is back in a time like late 60s or 70s where they didn't really give a shit about neighbors and stuff like that. And even when you heard like screams coming from the fucking neighbor's basement, you're just like, just let it be. It's like, yeah, y'all are part of the fucking problem, dude. And you should have been charged with accessory after the fact on that one for being the fucking neighbors in here and shit like that, doing nothing to stop it is what it was. But anyway, the one son of this woman was actually that teacher that was talking about, he was like, kids these days are so insane. It's like, dude, you were literally putting lit cigarettes on a fucking girl back in the 1960s/70s, asshole. And eventually tortured that poor girl to death. And your fucking psycho ass is now a teacher in the fucking school system 20-something years later or so? Are you fucking kidding me? That piece of shit should have never seen the light of fucking day again, man. He should have been charged as a fucking adult as a child then. And been in a fucking prison cell the rest of his damn life. So yeah, it's just fucked up in general, man. And then you got all these teachers nowadays that are doing all kinds of pedo shit and stuff like that. And it's just like, our country's just gone downhill, man. And again, also it makes sense, like going back full circle to the reading proficiency stuff and stuff like that, dude. It makes a lot of sense why people are not proficient in mathematics or reading or writing or anything else like that. When you literally have teachers that are sort of teaching them this stuff, literally indoctrinating them in a fucking math class, being like, and this is the preferred pronouns list, kids, and this is why we're going to talk about they, them, he, she, z, zer, etc., today. And it's like, bitch, you're a fucking math teacher. Teach these kids the basics. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. That's your fucking actual position. And if you're not going to do that, then get the fuck out, you indoctrinating pedo piece of shit in general. So, anyway. Pretty much done with all this fucking shit, dude. I'm just over all of it, honestly. That's funny. There's a video going around right now of this woman who was always feeding this squirrel, and the squirrel apparently stole a cookie from somebody else and brought it to her as a present. I don't think I'd be eating that cookie, though, just because, you never know if there's, like, some crazy animal disease that could be gotten from, like, a squirrel or something like that. So, anyway. Let's see here. Where am I at right now? I'm going to go ahead and read this little piece of thing right here that the dude who was DC Drano put up. Says, I told my son, you will marry the girl I choose. He said no. I told him, she is Bill Gates' daughter. He said, okay. I called Bill Gates and said, I want your daughter to marry my son. Bill Gates said no. I told Bill Gates my son is the CEO of World Bank. Bill Gates said okay. I called the president of World Bank and asked him to make my son the CEO. He said no. I told him my son is Bill Gates' son-in-law. He said okay. This is how politics work. Yeah, sounds about right, actually. Sounds about right. Nepotism at its worst on that one, dude. So you're basically just lying to everybody is what it is. Yep, makes a lot of sense, actually. Makes a lot of sense. I think we'll leave it off on this one tonight, actually, for this episode, which is you have basically the Tom and Jerry dogs, father and son, playing with each other there. Little pupper. It's like, hey. It's cute. That was probably my favorite characters, actually, in the Tom and Jerry show, was the pit bull and his son. So, anyway. Just trying to make sure there's nothing else I want to talk about right now. I don't think there is, but who knows. Just going to make sure here. Can't show that because that would be whatchamacallit. Can't really show this because it's also fighting. So, let's see. Oh, okay. Actually, maybe we'll leave it off on the Robbie Starbuck thing here. I'll just turn this up on my headphones so you guys can potentially hear it coming off the headphones, but I'm not going to yank the headphones a little bit here. He was talking about crazy bitch Kathy and the whole quarantine mandate. Yep, just ordering a ministry of truth for public schools. Okay, so this is actually a different thing then. So it wasn't just the crazy take people away for vaccine shit or whatever the case being quarantine them. It was also public school ministry of truth stuff.
You guys have to see this. The governor of New York just announced basically a ministry of truth that is going to be put into public schools. Check this out.
Today I'm directing the Director of Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services to develop media literacy tools for K-12 in our public schools.
The governor of New
Okay, actually, I'm going to yank them because I want to hear this better.
York just announced basically a ministry of truth that is going to be put into public schools. Check this out.
Today I'm directing the Director of Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services to develop media literacy tools for K-12 in our public schools. This will teach students and even teachers to help understand how to spot conspiracy theories, disinformation, and online hate. Start talking.
You are the disinformation and online hate, you stupid fucking cunt. You literal fucking demon.
About what we're seeing out there. Give the teachers the tools they need to help these conversations in school.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And by teaching younger New Yorkers about how to discern between digital fact and digital fiction, we can better inoculate them from hatred.
What you really means is indoctrinate them from hatred?
And help prepare them for a very fast-moving and often confusing world.
The left loves to use fancy buzzwords to make it sound like they're doing something nice, but in reality, we know what it means when she says that they're going to root out conspiracy theories and teach these kids not to fall for them. It means that they're going to frame the right as conspiracy theorists, as the purveyors of conspiracy theories, so they can get kids in alignment with their leftist ideology and make them believe that anything to the right of this far left ideology is in fact some sort of crazy lie, hoax, or conspiracy theory. We're not falling for it. This is tyranny. This is indoctrination. This is re-education. And you parents, you need to stand up. If you're living in New York and you are a conservative or just a parent who is sane, what are you doing? Get your kids out of these schools, or don't complain when your kid becomes a crazed leftist who hates your values, your family, and everything you stand for. 2024 may be our only chance to save this country from these leftist tyrants. So make sure that you are doing everything you can to stop this from taking over our country.
So I'm actually going to give a different message than Robbie gave there, which is basically remove Kathy Hochul from the New York governorship right now. Literally recall this fucking cunt, because I'm pretty sure New York has recallability at that point. Remove her by legal means. Charge her with every fucking crime, every single felony, every single person that she has helped mass murder in the past 3 years in New York State. With those crimes, make this bitch ineligible to ever hold office ever again in this country. Put her in the prison cell where she belongs, and at the same time, Sue the fucking shit out of the New York school systems and take the fucking schools in the lawsuits. And I mean that shit seriously. It's time for parents to grow a fucking pair, and it's time to sue the fuck out of these school districts and take the fucking schools as part of the lawsuit settlements at that point. That's what needs to happen at this point in history. Seriously, man. You want to win this culture war? You want to win the things the right way? You take the fucking institutions back, literally, in lawsuit offenses, in various lawfare. It's time to use the weapons that the left used against us for the past 20 plus years now and turn them back around and use them against their own fucking asses, dude, and give them a goddamn knockout blow once for fucking all at that point. Legally, every single way around right now. And take this country back from the tyrant fuckers that are trying to kill us all right now. And it starts by removing tyrants from offices legally. With criminal charges, with literal recalls, etc. And that's what we're going to end off tonight with. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see y'all on the next one. I will be back tomorrow for a special Wednesday edition of Buckshot Thursday that we will just do for, legitimately like pre-Thanksgiving is what it is. And then we'll do Freedom Friday as usual, and we'll just start Stand Your Ground Saturday as usual. But yeah, anyway, we will have we'll do special Buckshot Thursday on Wednesday, and we'll talk about various gun stuff then as will be, because there's a lot of wins we had today that I didn't get a chance to go over. We had a bunch of stuff in Oregon happen. We had a bunch of stuff with standard capacity bans being overturned finally. And yeah, we're winning this war, dude, at all fronts right now. It's just having to take course is what it is right now. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said before, always be carrying. Always make sure you have one in the chamber, because you never fucking know when things are going to pop off. And you never know when some fucking psycho is going to come for you, or some psycho is going to try to do some fucking massacre in some place that you're in. And you have to become the person that does a stand your ground situation. Have a good one, y'all. Later.